start this poetry segment if one of our amazing, spectacular voices, one of our fan favorites. She always has the right words to say and the best cadence to say them. Adriana, are you ready to share your piece and to express that love?
Absolutely.
All right.
So I'm actually not a parent. So this I chose a different angle when it comes to artistic expression for this. But I am a person who was a latchkey kid who experienced a bunch of different dynamics with co-parenting. So I chose that route. I chose to give you guys a bird's eye view into my co-parenting experience as the child and what I learned from that and what I hope to educate others on. Uh, so my piece is called Co-Parenting 101. It was BLB and CLT. Her 21, he 19. Friends first, but intention saw fit to increase. That's what BLB had in mind, at least. CLT was being courted by his roomie at the time, but he gamed her and lied, so they never grew ties. He was told to be real when he asked for advice, but Buddy chose fakeness and lost that fight. Won by the youngin' who chose to be friends, got to know the inner glow that was hidden within. Equally yoked due to similar stories. Country girl outlier, city boy lonely. Job Corps homies with ambitious dreams, finally free to breathe, fell in love and conceived. Tried their best to be, they chose to flee, and became a team once two, made three. Neither prepared for the pins that burst their bubble. In and outside forces caused their relationship trouble. Young and dumb, so they didn't make it, yet they agreed that this wouldn't really have a placement in whether or not the baby they're sharing would lack in growing or knowing both parents. Life, time, and people created friction. More children, addictions, depression, prison. Generational traumas reenacted, compacted. Mistakes into kindling decisions, the matchstick. Argumentative factions, destructive to balance. Camaraderie, tumultuous. Agreement, a challenge. Making dysfunction hard to miss. But through all of this, their pack still exists. Visitation was a weapon with his other baby mamas. But the first never was a part of that drama. At odds for years, even the child could see, but never was denied her family. She got older and noticed the toll that it took on all her younger siblings, missing this page of their book. Some forming opinions thought she was the favorite, not knowing relations decided their placement. Too young to understand that their elders said no, old enough to feel resentful, abandonment in tow. The oldest felt shame wanting to know the reasons why she's the only one allowed to consistently see him. So she could tell her siblings that they all were mistaken. Looks could be deceiving. There were no favorites. That didn't come to pass. The truth came too late. Each sibling held pain that remains to this day. The oldest still wonders if the tides had changed. Would the weight of that pain have been less of a strain? To the parents, her brothers, her sisters, herself. Could it have shuffled the cards they were dealt? Who knows? What matters now is to notice and learn. Be the difference in choice when it's our turn. As mothers, fathers, uncles, aunts, godparents, cousins, friends with those with little ones. Even if you don't really favor one another, get along. Find some common ground the babies can stand on. It really does take a village, no matter the semantics. The point is to display a strong dynamic where differences are settled to encourage progression, education inflated by previous lessons, promoting improvements, and a platform to rise to the occasion of a future brightly shining in their eyes. They have to see it first in order to believe it. We have to be it first so they can conceive it. Peace, y'all.
Yes. Oh man.
Okay.
So much thoughts came to mind. That piece. It really made me think about how when you mentioned siblings, no child, no matter how many there are in a family, experiences the same mother or father. You can't be the same to one child that you are to another, because every child requires, even though I only have one son, I'm a child of 7. So just coming up like that, I do see how, my mother had to be a different mother to me than she had to be to my brothers and sisters.
For sure.
Thank you for your words.
Can I
just say real quick, am I still on mute? Oh,
nah,
true. Can I just say real quick that was a bar though, when you too young to understand, you know what I'm saying, being so but old enough to like start forming resentment. Like, to me, that I was about to use profanity. That was so profound, because like you don't even realize like that stage and how important it is to raise a child, like how touchy and how sensitive it is. And that was it right there. Like, you could just be trying to be a good parent or just trying to do your best, and you just saying no because you believe in your heart that it's the best thing, but you could actively really be like they have resentment for it. Like, dang, that's deep. That was deep. I love that bar, bro. I ain't gonna lie.
I appreciate it. I'm like Gabe. I mean, I'm like where I'm the oldest of 7, and that is that much harder when we're not in the same household. I only have one brother in the same household, so when you add a bunch of different energies and dynamics, there's heartbreaks, there's of course the parents learning and growing up themselves. It makes it a lot more complicated. So hopefully, future generations will try to at least create a community where even if you guys aren't necessarily the closest or you don't necessarily care for your company, you create a dynamic of peace for the kids, because they literally soak up everything. Absolutely everything.
That's true. That's true. That piece, being an eldest daughter, the angle that you took with your piece, I can appreciate too, considering that I'm not a parent, but inadvertently I am. And I still have that extreme respect for the fact that I'm not, my younger siblings are not my kids, and they're my mom's. And I respect that, but I feel it so much because of the role that I chose to take for them, and the way that your piece has spoken to those volumes of even knowing that you have so much growing to do, but at the same time, you don't get a chance to experience those things as well because you're taking on this other role that you're not ready for. Sometimes, just like a new parent, they're not ready for it either. So maybe that same grace is grace that you don't get in that time. But it still takes that village, it still takes that community. And if you love your family the way that you say you do it willingly, and you still give because you want to, because something still wouldn't feel right or sit right in your spirit if you didn't, even if you want time for yourself. And that piece was amazing. Does anybody else have something that they would like to input? Supernatural C, what do you have?
It was the line at the end that the parents have to conceive it for the children to see it. Was that? Could you repeat the line, please, Adriana?
Yeah. I don't want to misquote myself. In order to believe it, we have to be it first, so they can conceive it.
Yeah.
Basically, we have to be the example for them. Otherwise, they'll just learn from what they see, whether we tell them something different as they get older or not, because they already have that programming.
Yeah, but I can see it in myself as the child, and I can see it in myself as the parent, that it really doesn't matter what you say. The words don't mean anything if they're not backed up by action. you know. So, and in a way, but what I was talking about a little bit earlier with the battles that I had today, it was an example of that. You know, I can say all day long that I'm strong and I'm this and that, but they have to see me be that. They have to see me stand on business. They have to see me not fold. And in me not folding, it gives them courage not to fold, you know. So, and the same as being a child and being parented, you know, you realize when you become a parent how much automatically you just do. I just did what mom did, you know. I think that is a really key point that you made and put beautifully, obviously, beautifully and poetically. So thank you for that.
Thank you. Thank you for receiving it.
I do want to say, just get my piece on it. Nah, that whole thing was fire. I might need to I'm gonna have to rewatch that and listen to that myself. But I just like to. Well, to me, it was like very duality in it because you were talking about being a sibling, yet being a parent, and I felt both sides because obviously I am a parent now, but being the youngest out of four brothers, it seeing the dynamic of difference and love of connection with me and my brothers have with my mother, and just like the resentment and just different things that played a part in our lives, and just the dysfunction I kind of had in my family, just seeing it growing up, knowing I really didn't want that playing through. When you started talking about that, you know, basically you gotta break the cycle, then you gotta, you know, believe it you gotta be it to believe it for them to conceive it. That part really hit because I'm going through a time where it's like, I don't want the same things that me and my brothers went through, like with family not really being close because of whatever pride issues or just anything they've ever had growing up. So I'm, you know, learning to be different and do different, you know, still struggling with trying to put action behind it, learning how to show up, learning how to be that rather than just speak it. That really hit. And I was just, I don't know, that was just fire.
I appreciate you.